Silkworms are an incredibly nutritious feeder insect that is often used for reptiles. I happen to have quite a few silkworms with me here today, so I figured that it would be fun to go ahead and just do a nice silkworm feeding video. You know, who doesn't love a nice feeding video featuring a lot of my pets? So I think this will be fun. I honestly don't really have a whole lot else to say, so we might as well just go ahead and get on with the feeding. However, before we get on with this feeding, make sure you are subscribed to my channel if you aren't already, so that you don't miss any more fun animal videos in the future. I would love to have you guys here, so make sure you are subscribed if you aren't already. So now let's just go ahead and grab some silkworms and then we will start feeding my animals. Alright, so this bin right here has some not superworms, these are silkworms. So this bin has some silkworms in it. There's 12 of them total. There is various sizes here, however they are all pretty big. Like if you look at the biggest one, it's you know, it's a pretty big one. So like even the tiniest one, which we have right here, is a pretty good sized worm. So unfortunately this does mean that I'm probably not going to be able to give any silkworms to my smaller animals. However, some of my larger animals are definitely going to enjoy these. So let's get feeding. So the first animal I am going to be feeding is Fiona here. I can tell that Fiona is already waiting for some food, aren't you? Fiona is, you know, she's pretty big. Parsons chameleons are pretty large, so I'm going to be giving her the pretty big worms here. She's gonna get 2 of them. Alright, and let's take another big one for Fiona. So Fiona is a chameleon who I've worked very, very hard with to build a nice relationship with, and because of that, she will just eat right off my hand. The reason why she's not going for this worm right now is because she's just finishing swallowing her last one, but I bet she'll take this worm very soon. So we're also gonna go ahead and offer some silkworms to Felix. So Felix is, he has a little bit of shed there right now, but he should be able to get that off on his own. Rarely have I ever had to help a chameleon with shed. They almost always get it off on their own. So Felix is definitely a lot more hesitant with me than Fiona is. Normally he's pretty good though, but whenever I bring out the camera, he kind of gets a little bit extra shy. So I'm gonna go and stick his worm right there since he doesn't really seem to want to eat it from my hand, and hopefully he'll take it like that. Alright, so I don't actually know if Fiona wants this worm right now. She is being a little bit hesitant, so maybe we'll come back to her later, but she did get one nice silkworm, so at least she did get a nice treat regardless. Let's see if Felix wants another worm. So I thought I would try again to see if he would eat off my hand, but he is still being a little bit shy, so I'm gonna go and place that worm on his branch and then let him eat that as well. Now I want to go ahead and feed my bearded dragon and my blue-tongued skink. So let's go ahead and grab some worms for them. So I'm going to be giving them each 2 silkworms, assuming that they want them both, which I assume they do. I'm saving this very biggest one here for Fiona in case she wants to eat it again later. So I'm probably going to take ones that are like this size in order to feed to Lex and Bella. So if we look in Bella's enclosure, we can see her right there. She's currently on her cool side, hanging out under her piece of cork. So I'm gonna see if I can get her to kind of come out for this worm. Bella always has no issue following after. Little piece of dirt. Yeah, Bella has no issue coming right out for her food. Oh, that was a little earlier than I wanted her to take it, but oh well. Let's see if I can get Bella to come over here for her second one. You want the worm? There you go. So obviously it really doesn't take a whole lot of effort for Bella to walk from her enclosure out onto the floor here. However, you know, any chance you get to just sort of stimulate your animal's brains a little bit and have them kind of work for their food is really good for them. So, you know, even though all it took was her walking just from there to there, it is a little bit of enrichment for her. So if you're feeding your animals, I highly encourage you to look for enriching ways to feed them, because it is super rewarding and it is super beneficial for your animal. Isn't that right, Bella? Gonna eat the camera now? Yeah. This is so cute. She's very interested in the camera. We are going to go ahead and put Bella back in her enclosure though and let her hang out. So obviously blue-tongued skinks do need to eat more than just a few insects here and there. Typically Bella only eats a full meal about once a week, and then a few days throughout the week I'll give her a couple insects here and there. So yeah, those silkworms that she got is all that she is getting for food today. However, that's definitely not like a full meal for a blue-tongued skink by any means. And here we have Lex, who, similar to Bella, definitely knows that she is about to get fed, and I'm also going to make her work for her food a little bit. So let's go and grab a worm for Lex. So I'm not going to make Lex come out of her enclosure, but I am going to make her move around her enclosure for the worm. Come get it. There. See how high that these guys will jump when they're looking to get food? A lot of people really ignore the fact that bearded dragons are semi-arboreal in captivity, and because of that they really just don't really get the opportunity to climb very much. However, it is very beneficial to them and they really do love it. So if I had any word of advice for some bearded dragon owners, it would be add things for your dragon to climb on and they will love it. Lex is basically always hanging out up high. She's rarely ever on ground level. She's almost always in her branches like this. Alright, so now we're going to go and give my leopard gecko some silkworms, starting with Sushi here. Also, just a quick note, I do just want to say that these leopard gecko setups are very temporary and are changing later this month, so yeah, just quick little disclaimer, but let's get them some worms now. So Sushi is very food motivated. Yeah. There you go. Worm for Sushi. Both Sushi and Alani, who are, you know, two of my leopard geckos, have such a big, they're just so food driven, they have such a big appetite. Also, over this past year, Sushi's gained a few little spots on her, which I think are really cute, and also Sushi is currently trying to eat my camera string through her enclosure. Sushi, that is not food. I'm sorry that it is not. However, I will give you one more worm. There you go. There we go, 2 silkworms for Sushi. So next up we're going to be feeding Alani. I'm not going to be feeding Pepper, who is my other leopard gecko today, because she is on a different feeding schedule than these guys. She does have some issues that make her care slightly different than a normal leopard gecko. So no silkworms for Pepper today, however Alani is anxiously waiting one. So Alani is only going to be getting 1 worm today, mainly because Alani does have some weight issues. I wouldn't actually say it's really much of an issue. She's not overweight or anything. She just does hold on to weight really easily, so I typically have to feed her slightly less than my other geckos. So despite her definitely wanting another one and making attempts to climb out for one, she is unfortunately not going to be getting another worm today. So we now have 2 silkworms left. Like I mentioned earlier, this larger one here is supposed to be for Fiona if she wants it. If she doesn't want it, I'll give it to someone else. But now let's take this smaller worm here and bring it to his murderer, I guess. Poor worm. Oh my gosh. This camera's so frustrating and so bad with focusing, but we did just go, oh my gosh, this is like really frustrating. Okay, so I had about 4,000 issues trying to get my camera to focus, but we're finally here, so even if you didn't get the best view of that because of the camera issues, I did just go and give that silkworm to Finn, who is my Trioceros montium. He is a big eater. He always has no issues taking worms or anything from me, so hopefully he enjoyed that, and here we go. No focus again, yay! Alright, so now let's take this big worm again and give it one more go with Fiona and see if she wants to eat it. If Fiona doesn't want it, I'll probably give it to either Felix if he wants it or Bella, but let's hope that Fiona wants it. And there we go, Fiona took the worm. So after having a little bit of time to eat the first one, you know, she did decide that she wanted a second one. Sometimes it just takes a little bit of time. And while I unfortunately do not have any small silkworms that I could feed to Moira right now, I figured that I would just give her a little bit of a shout out because Moira really loves silkworms, so when I do have tiny ones, she goes nuts for them. However, I don't have any today, unfortunately. Venus, who is one of my chameleon geckos, is also a major silkworm fan. Obviously, like I said, I don't have any tiny ones, so I unfortunately don't have any I could offer her today. However, she does love them. She always shakes them. It's super cute. I love when animals shake things. It's so funny. And there we go. I am very happy that many of my animals today got to enjoy some nice nutritious silkworms. Like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, silkworms are a very nutritious type of feeder for your reptiles. So if you are able to access silkworms, I would highly recommend getting them and feeding them to your pets. They will most likely love it. There's very few animals that I have that don't enjoy a silkworm here and there, so definitely would recommend trying out some silkworms if you haven't already. However, with all of this said, and now that many of my animals have been fed, I think that it is time that we just go ahead and end the video. So with that said, I want to thank you all so much for watching. I do really appreciate it. If you haven't already, please make sure that you subscribe to my channel. I would love to have you guys here, and then you guys will, you know, get to stick around for a lot more fun animal content to come in the future, so make sure you do that. If you enjoyed this video, also be sure to give it a big thumbs up. That would also mean a ton to me, and don't forget to check out all of my social media. All of my social media will be down in the description below. However, most of it is just MSAM99. I want to give a little bit of a shout out to my TikTok because I have been posting more on there recently, so if you have TikTok, make sure you follow me on there for some additional animal content. So yeah, a little shout out for all of my social media, but I'm doing this because I would love to have you guys over there, so please do it. With all of that said, I'm just going to go ahead and end the video here. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you all in my next video.